Okay, this is how I install inline water filters for ice machines and ice makers. I got this particular water filter online. It's a Robert Shaw. I'm not sure if they make them anymore, but it's the same as most other inline water filters. First thing you want to do is wrap the threads with some Teflon tape. Now, this particular fitting has a 1/8 pipe fitting on one end and a 1/4 inch compression fitting on the other. So you want to screw in the pipe fitting into the filter first. Then the 1/4 inch compression fitting comes with a little brass ferrule that goes on the tubing, and you'll see how I do that. Be careful with it and make sure you're not cross-threading that fitting in there. Otherwise you could damage the filter. Okay, pay attention. There's an arrow on there showing the direction of the flow. You want to make sure it's going in the right direction. The arrow's pointing to the machine. Okay, so now here I'm taking a piece of 1/4 inch copper tubing. This is refrigeration tubing. It's a little thicker than the water lines that stuff you can buy at Home Depot and those big box stores. This is 80 thousandths wall thickness. It's a little more heavier duty. And that's what I use. So I'm cutting off a piece here, and I'm going to prepare each end with a 1/4 inch compression fitting and also the brass ferrule. Now I'm going to mount this into a 1/4 inch compression fitting so that I can compress that ferrule in there. I'm using this piece of connector here to do that, rather than, and you could also just push it into the filter and tighten it up on the filter, but I would prefer to do it this way and make sure that I get a good bite and compress that ferrule. Okay, so I've gotten that ferrule in there compressed nicely, and so now it's time to shape that piece of tubing. I'm going to put a little 180-degree bend in it, so because the inlet at the top of the filter has to go down. You'll see as I put you'll see the filter's in there already. It's hanging in there. This is the connector that will connect it, just to give me a little bit extra room so I could service that filter maybe in the future. Okay, so now I'm connecting that extra piece of tubing that I made into the water valve, the water supply line. It's hard to see because there's very little light under there, but there's a little valve there, it's 1/4 inch compression, and I'm just connecting that to it. You'll notice that goes up to the top of the filter, and that's where this water goes in. The arrow is actually pointing down because that pipe that goes through the wall is actually going to the ice machine. So yeah, connect that, make sure it's threaded properly, it's not cross-threaded, and tighten that up, and then we'll turn it on and check for leaks. Okay, so now I'm turning the water on. You can see me turning that valve counterclockwise. And then I'm checking for leaks and making sure that we don't have any leaks there. When I'm sure that there's no leaks, then we can button up the job. Now there's some charcoal in that filter, and you might want to flush it out first before you connect it to the machine. But don't have to. Just tell the customer or yourself that you might get some black ice cubes, but it's just charcoal. Okay, that's about it. That's how you install an inline water filter for an ice machine or an ice maker. It's pretty simple, and they're readily available online.